Righty. So there we have it. Yeah. So today's stream is gonna be a special one. We have International Master André Sousa with us today, and yeah. Hello, Mr. André. How are you today? Feeling good? Yeah.
Doing fine. I think I should tell you that I think I'm frozen.
Yeah. It was like the most probable.
Yeah,
Um,
not on a particularly good-looking face, but
Let me see if I do something here. Did it unfroze?
I don't think so.
And what about this?
Okay, now it seems. I mean, it froze on a different face. It's a better face, so I'm happier. Okay, now it hasn't frozen. Now it's freezing and unfreezing. So
Okay, I think it's a problem with the internet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, let me just set up here my little comment thing for me to see everybody talking. Hopefully, the whole world talking, the whole chess world. Yeah.
hello, Balserix. How are you doing?
Mr. Balserix always here. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so yeah, today here we have Mr. André Sousa with us, and it's gonna be a pretty interesting stream. This is a stream that appears here with the idea of basically celebrating me crossing the 200 followers mark here on Twitch, which was interesting. And I said that, okay, once I do that, I'll for sure have someone very interesting for me to maybe share some thoughts, even like pick some brains in terms of what it means to reach cool heights in terms of chess improvement. And I decided to invite Mr. André Sousa here to the stream. He's an international master. He's a very strong Portuguese player. He has represented Portugal in the Olympiad multiple times, I believe. He has also won national championships multiple times, and he is overall a very prominent figure, in my opinion, in the Portuguese landscape in terms of chess. So yeah, Mr. André, how are you today? Feeling good? Yeah.
Yeah, also doing fine. Hello, everyone, and thanks for the introduction. Really flattering.
I don't know if the introduction was missing anything of really cool importance on your end. I don't know. Um,
You probably said everything there is more important to say as a player. I mean, I guess the only important thing is that I'm currently working as a chess professional, right?
yes, for sure. You are dedicated full time to chess, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Just like you, yeah.
More as a coach, or as how would you say you are dividing it, coach or player?
Uh, I consider myself only a professional coach because I couldn't make a living out of playing, so I don't think it makes much sense to say I would be a professional player. But as for time, I would say it's maybe a 60-40 actually. I do work a lot on chess for myself. But yeah, maybe 60-40, 64 for the class. But I do work like on a normal day, I would say 3 to 4 hours for myself. So yeah, and then the classes. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So you have been developing over the last few years maybe a method in terms of coaching. I would believe. Probably once you started, you thought some things would go some way, but now you probably think differently. How would you say in terms of how you approach chess improvement when teaching someone? How would you say you have kind of like shifted your perspective, or has it remained consistent?
Well, of course, there are some things that have been shifting. By the way, perhaps people have complained a little bit that my sound is too low. Don't worry, guys, that's normal complaint. My microphone is not very amazing when it comes to that. But yeah, João, if you can increase it, that's maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna increase it right now. Just give me a couple of seconds.
Yeah. So as for the question, of course, things change. So I work with people from almost literally starting, players. Two of my strongest students are around 2,300. So that's a big range, and I have many students throughout this range. So and my perspective has changed a little bit for, of course, because in some of the duels I didn't have much experience at all, right? So I wasn't 100% sure what to expect, or or even how their improvement looks like. So some things have stayed the same, some have been improved, and but I think it makes sense, right? I'm pretty sure I'm a much better trainer right now than I was 1 year ago or 2 years ago.
It's kind of like being a chess player as well. Once you start out, it's like you think of something and then, oh, this is rubbish. I'm gonna play something different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And I'd also like to ask you before we go into more serious stuff, like kind of like rapid questions in terms of like out of the thought of your mind, would you say you prefer E4 or D4?
Well, I am and have been an E4 player for basically all my life.
Best by test.
That's almost 20 years now that I've started learning chess. I'm going to say E4. But D4 has its merits because honestly, maybe my best, the opening I have the best score is the London system. So who knows? But in terms of popularity, it's I'm going to say I have like 20, 25 Londons and hundreds and hundreds of E4s, right? So I have to say 4.
And the people are asking here. Azul PT is asking, what was the lower end of his student silo? So your lower end of student silo. She didn't get it.
0. just just starting out.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty
Um, and also, I'll also like to ask you, like, since you are an international master, you have been like going up the ranks in terms of like being zero rated, I guess, and then breaking the 2000 barrier, and then NM, FM. So, if you could make like if you could explain what do you think are the main differences in terms of what National Master André Sousa would think versus FM André Sousa and IM André Sousa. Do you think there are differences in terms of thought?
Uh, God, yes. We don't have to go to national. Actually, I have never been a national master
Oh,
because I went from 2150 to 2300 in one list. But
boss.
oh, sorry, not true. I went from 2250 to 2400. But at the time, national master, you had to stay at the 2200 for 6 months, and I never did that. So I don't think I was national master.
Okay.
Anyway, uh, we don't have to go to those levels. Like there's a ridiculous difference between I am André Sousa and I am André Sousa because I was an international master with 17 years old, and I'm 24 now. So that's that's a big. Those are a lot of years. And honestly, the way things have been developing the last year, I am like around the same rating as I was all those years ago. But I always feel like if I were to play a match against my former self with 17 years old, I would say I would win maybe like 8-2 or something. I really feel like it was ridiculously bad. Of course, I probably know you people have tendency to judge themselves just a little bit harder, but no, there's a very particular game from the Grand Chess Opening that I played into 2017. It was a Karakan. It was just one of the most ridiculous things. Of course, again, being a little bit harsh with myself here. I could even show it on the board. I think we're sharing, right? Just the because that's really what bugs me. So the game was e4, c6. I was white. d4. My opponent was rated around 2200 and something. d5, e5, bishop f5. And at the time, so there are many main lines here. At the time, I was playing knight e2, which is just a possibility. We're not going to go deep into this. The idea is to attack the bishop with knight g3. So he went e6, knight g3, bishop g6, to not give up the bishop, and I went h4, trying to trap the bishop. This is all normal. And he went h5 here, which I didn't know. I only knew
H6. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my brilliant myself from 7 years ago thought, this pawn on h5 is slightly weakened, and if I were to attack it, how would he defend it? So, I looked and also found out that the bishop on g6 is kind of exposed. So I thought, oh, I know. I'm going to go knight e2, to go to f4,
Knight f4.
back g6 and h5. Of course, at that time I was 2400, but for some reason I don't think anyone ever told me that you need to develop your pieces. So after I got hit with c5, white is already much worse, and I was basically lost very quickly. I did lose the game after I managed to almost save it, but like this is ridiculous. Like after knight f4, bishop f5, I do grab the pawn on h5, but the center is
Couldn't you play like c3 and
right here.
yeah? Ah, but maybe
Yeah,
you are
but
playing like a worse version of a French because the bishop's out. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I'm just stuck. It's like just much worse. And yeah, it just completely. I think the game went like something like this. I don't know if I grabbed the pawn or not, but at some point, like I was much worse. But yeah, like this is when I talk about the differences. This is the first game that always pops into my mind. But yeah, you know, going all the way back to the question, I do feel like I'm miles away a much better chess player right now than I was, even though honestly my rating is the same or even lower if you consider when I got to 2400. I really don't think there's a comparison.
Okay, so in terms of a big shift, you think in terms of the opening phase of the game, you think there is like a mindset difference in terms of how you approach it?
Yes, and that changes a lot. That's constantly changing, honestly. Um, in comparison to say 7 years ago, yeah, I think it just changes. Well, 7 years ago I didn't know much, and but I think it just kind of jumps from here to there. Sometimes I don't. I feel like I want to just memorize everything. Some other times I feel like I don't care about anything. I just want to get the pieces out. I'm usually the type of person that just wants to get the pieces out. I am a strong believer that openings are very much overrated. And you know, you can check my games. I against D4 I play the Bogo Indian almost exclusively. And if you were to tell me that you would prepare and that tomorrow I have to play for my life against D4, I would still play the Bogo Indian. And the engine says, you know, 0-6 or whatever. I don't know why it's a bad opening. I always somehow like, yeah, I'm always worse. I always end up with a Indian without the bad bishop. So, you know, I like it very much. But all this to say that sometimes I have bursts of motivation. I'm saying, you know, I will study this opening. At some point, in 2021, I studied the Grufeld for 3 months, and I played it for one. And yeah, and sometimes I do memorize stuff, but usually I'm more the type of person that just wants to get the pieces out and play something. Yeah.
Here, in terms of the chat, we have a question from Big Boss. He's asking, how did your chess routine change from like when you were unrated to now being IM?
Well, from unrated, that was very long ago, really long ago.
But
Well, I can say, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like maybe break into three parts, like from unrated to 1800, and then to master level, perhaps.
Yeah. Uh, Basically, when I was young, um, I started. I learned chess with 4 years old, and my first tournament was at 7 years old. So I started young, and as far as I remember, I didn't study much. I basically did tactics and had a coach and played chess. That's basically it. There was no routine. It was just what it was, and I mean, with school and all that stuff, and playing computer games, very important as well. I don't think there was just a routine. Then I think, you know, I started studying here and there. I don't ever feel like I had a routine up until, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago. I think the only time when I really scheduled something was when I finished my university degree, um, and then I took a gap year for chess only, and then that was like I studied for in average maybe 6-7 hours a day, and that had a routine. And now with coach work, I also have a routine, but I'm not a very organized person, so I didn't have it for a long time.
So maybe like playing tournaments regularly was always top of your priorities.
Yes, pretty much. Mine and my dad's as well, because he was the one that always accompanied me and helped me with stuff. For sure, yeah.
Okay. And nowadays, how would you say, or how would you estimate that you spend on working on your tactical vision, like doing patterns, doing chess pattern recognition, maybe on leashes, and working on solving chess puzzles?
Sadly, not as much as I should. I always tell my students that you really should study 10 to 15 minutes of tactics every day. You should study, I mean, the bottom line is you should study tactics every day, even if it's for 1 minute, if you don't have the energy for more. Consistency is more
Mm-hmm.
important than just big chunks every month. Myself, I don't do tactics much anymore, basically because I am lazy and I don't like them. It's kind of boring. But I used to do many. I think my tactical recognition is fine. I could be much better, obviously, but I don't feel like it's the because I don't like it, and I don't feel it's my weakness, a big weakness of mine. I can't ignore it, but it's wrong, of course.
Okay, okay. And now, in terms of like really solving chess puzzles, would you say it's beneficial to work on a lot of like simple tactics to like really upload the chess pattern to your brain, or do you think it is more beneficial to like going to solve like three puzzles and it's gonna be super hard. I'm gonna think for a long time. How would you say it's better, or a bit of both, perhaps?
So people will often that's a big topic. I
Mm-hmm.
will probably get lengthy here because I honestly can't avoid it. It's just my coach brain working. But people often tend to mix calculation and tactics together.
Mm-hmm.
So what you just ask, it's actually two different things. So tactics are what, as you correctly said, is uploading, so to speak, tactical patterns into our heads. It's what makes us look at a position, and our intuition gives us
The
a
move,
move
yeah.
that without even thinking about it. Why? Because we've seen that pattern before, and the brain just recognizes it. So that's worked on, and that's what I think you should work on 5 minutes or whatever every day. Just upload more and more. You can never do that enough. And that should be short tactics. What I usually tell to my students is to make tactics that are solvable in 1, 2 moves. When I did do this work for myself, my tactics were 2 move tactics and very low rated, like on chess around 2000 rated. So it's like very short tactics. It doesn't matter the difficulty. What matters is that you do them correctly and fast. The faster the better, because when you are calculating, and we'll get to what calculating is in a second. When you're calculating, you need to find these things like this, yeah, because it's in the middle of a very long variation. And if you don't find 1 move tactics in half a second, you're just going to burn through your whole time looking at bad variations. So that's very important. Now, calculation is much different. When you spend a lot of time on a difficult puzzle, you're basically calculating. You're not if you're evaluating moves for looking for candidates. If you are visualizing a lot of stuff in your head, that is calculation, and that should be done on the board if you are an over the board player. And and that's like exercise. Those exercises can take it's okay for them to take half an hour, 45 minutes to solve, because what's really important is that you are there thinking, visualizing, and so those are completely two different things. For tactics online, I really don't think you should calculate. You should just do easy tactics, short tactics.
Okay, okay, yeah. So, would you say that if someone doesn't have time or only has like 15 minutes, it's more beneficial to them, I would guess, to spend their time like working on tactics and not on calculation per se?
Depends on the level, but probably yes.
At
Because
least,
if
at least it gives more like immediate results, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing is that calculation, I don't think you can work too much. Like calculation is better. Like I think calculation is a little bit different. Calculation, if I feel like you need at least like a session of 1 hour or something, because 15 minutes, like you might not even finish one exercise. So it's kind of yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Okay, so Phil Moves here is asking what platform do you use to do those sorts of tactics, leashes with a difficult on very easy?
Yeah, so basically I use chess 100%. My rating is around 2600 or something like that. I just tick that off unrated because I don't want my rating to change. and I choose I don't know what the name is, but like minus 600. So basically, the exercise I do are around 2000 rated. And that's the level where I can solve each one in say 1 2 seconds. But I mean, yeah, like around 1 second or two. But and that's exactly what I want to do. If I have to say look at an exercise for 10 seconds, 15, it's not the type of work that I want to be doing when I do this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, now when once it comes to like, imagine that you're going to have a tournament pretty soon. Okay, how would you say your overall approach to your chess training routine would change? Like, imagine that you are 2 weeks out from a classical tournament. Do you think you would change anything?
Right. So a very important distinction here is what you should do and what I do.
Yeah,
I'm going to say what you should do.
exactly. Okay.
So when you have a tournament, you should switch. You should basically only work on openings and tactics slash calculation. So because stuff like positional play or even end games, like of course you might study an end game today and then suddenly you have in that tournament an end game, but
Yeah.
those are things that take more time to really internalize and to develop. But tactics and calculation is a little bit like working out. You can never like if you do a little bit, you should do every day anyway. So you always keep your brain active. But no, perhaps not too much. Like if you do 4 hours of calculation every day, I'm pretty sure no one that's watching this does 4 hours of calculation every day. But if you were to do that, you should probably make it 1 hour for a tournament or something like that because you don't want to kill your brain. And tactics a little bit as well, and then openings. So openings are the things that you can really study for a specific tournament and improve before a tournament. And I think that sticks just as well before a tournament or 3 months before a tournament or something like that. So that's usually what's recommended. Myself, I sometimes I try to do this, sometimes I don't care. It's it's a different story. But yeah, this is definitely what you should do.
And when once it comes to like books, I know you are a big fan of Sam Shankland, but do you have like a favorite book of yours that you would like to recommend to everyone watching?
I think it heavily depends on the purposes of the book, right? So I have
Mm-hmm.
many books I like, but it's a general thing. I have no idea. Do you like watching? Do you like reading? Sorry. Do you like following games?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing end game games or end game virtuoso. Uh, Magnus Carlsen, and I can't pronounce the name of the guy that wrote it. It's like to be Ollie or something, but those are very good, life changing, I would say, endgame books.
Okay.
Also has one on Karpov, has many on World Champions. Do you like following just games in general? Botvinnik's collection of games really good. Karpov's collection are good. Do you like, I don't know, solving exercises? Calculation, exclamation point is good. All the books from Agar are really good. So yeah, I have suggestions for basically everything you might want, but not like the holy grail of chess books.
And
Chess books, I would
what
say.
would you say was the book that like left a good impression on you, or like the greatest impression on you?
Well, all those I mentioned left a good impression, right? But I mean, recently those endgame virtuosos that I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
amazing, really amazing, especially for someone that doesn't know how to play endgames like me. But overall, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I don't know because, like I said, I never used to read too many books, sadly, just more recently. But I would say, like in general, I think I can give a good answer that the whole Grandmaster Preparation series by Agard is amazing.
Okay.
Some better than others. Okay, I have I'll pick one. Positional Play by Agard is really good, like top tier, really, really, really good book.
Okay. And regarding Agard, I know that you have met him. Yeah. So you have met Agard, yeah?
Yes, yes.
How is the man? Is he pleasant?
Well, I'm live, so of course he is. But no, I'm not. But no, of course he's really nice. I by the way, so for those that don't know, I was in a training camp
Yeah.
with Robert in his house for 4 days. I mean, it's amazing. Like they chose us. So the training was at his house. It was from day X to day Y. But they chose it. They basically let us choose in which day we would come because of the flights. So I came actually 2 days earlier and I came on the Saturday evening, and the camp started Monday, but they had already something planned for Sunday with their dog. They went out, and they just let me in their house. Just gave me everything I needed, and just let me be almost a stranger in their house. I was at their academy, but I never met them in person at their house, and they're really nice people. By day, I mean Nagord and Kalia.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, he himself is also really good as of course as a person and as a trainer. So that was a fantastic experience, by the way. I
And
really
what
enjoyed.
were you working on during those days?
So we started. So it was me plus two other guys.
Hmm.
Um, Started with the general exercises for everyone, and after Agar decided what were our weaknesses, he basically gave us exercise on that weakness. My specifically was attacking, and it was like 7 hours a day failing exercise in my case for 4 days straight. Sometimes we did other things, but it was mostly this, and it was a lot of failing. Yeah, really a lot of failing. I'm not even joking. Like it was around 7 hours for 3 days, and I failed. I'm going to say more than 90% of the exercises. And this is a good example I give when people not really complain. I never had like a student complain to me that the exercises were too difficult, but when they feel down that you're they're getting exercise wrong, I like to tell them this story because Agar is definitely one of the best coaches in the world, and he gave me these exercises, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and also there's a question here by Gustavo here who asks if there is any type of training that you think is overrated, like things you see other players around your strength doing that you think are not really that good or important. I guess you have talked about opening work. I guess a bit.
Yeah, so if you talk about my strength, that's a little bit of a different story. In general, like
Mm-hmm.
in the world of chess, opening is 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand like that's what's the easiest to do on YouTube and stuff, and then make nice titles with the crush with his opening, and
Yeah.
then make a new opening saying crush that opening previously. Like I've literally seen this on Lichess two videos by a popular YouTuber that had two videos in a row saying crush with the Caracan and then crush the Caracan. I'm like, that's probably impossible. And so I understand like opening is all the hype because not only is easy to make content on, it's also very easy to learn. Like you just kind of read and feel like you know stuff. So I really feel like openings is very much overrated. I would perhaps say that end games are also a little bit overrated in general. Like I don't want to downplay the importance of end games, but I do feel like at some point, like I see people sometimes teaching a lot of end games to very young kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's not super important because they are never gonna get those theoretical end games because people they will be blundering pieces along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like sometimes. So what I mean is that instead of focusing so much on this, I think like 100% what you should focus on is calculation slash tactical vision, and you can see that that's basically how Indians have come up. They almost only learn calculation, and they are all very strong. Not in positional play, but they always take your pieces when they can, and that's enough in chess a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what I was like gonna segue into, like seeing like the way sorry, the way Gukesh has been growing and has become like world champion, and also a lot of different other chess players from the Indian like chess school, I guess they have been growing a lot. Do you think that has influenced a bit the way you work, or at least kind of like confirmed your thesis, like calculation is the basis of chess improvement?
Well, it didn't change much because I already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice seeing it at play. Like chess is just a concrete game, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the earliest proof of this was computers without AI. They didn't know anything about chess. They just calculated millions of moves per second, and they played better than a human. So you don't actually need to know anything about chess. You just need to calculate well. And of course, for a human, it helps to know a little bit to direct your calculation skills. But yeah, like it's just and like it's not just my opinion. Like even recently, I saw an interview with Carlson. He was saying that it's the case with Gukesh, for instance, but many other Indians where Gukesh is really strong at classical, but the gap between classical and
Mm-hmm.
the faster control is ridiculously large when in comparison, of course, to other players. Because when he's playing rapid or blitz, Carlson, I'm saying what Carlson said, He makes very, very weird positional decisions. But when he's playing Classical, and Carlson said that when he plays Gukesh and then they analyze afterwards, a lot of times Gukesh is saying like what he looked at, and Carlson, he said this, said, how do you have time to look at that all that? Like he doesn't even understand how it's possible, how it is possible that Gukesh looks at so many lines. So there's a clear difference there, calculation versus positional understanding. Let's put it like that.
And how would you say computers have shaped chess? Like 10 years ago, it was very different, I guess. Today we are extremely like I'm not gonna say dependent, but the way like every player goes at it, or at least thinks about chess improvement, usually they go to the computer and they'll see, oh yeah, this move was better, and then they'll have their answer. Do you think it was like, or it is a good tool for chess improvement, or do you think that it is not as cool as it once was in terms of like how chess was versus how it is now, being so much computer based, I guess?
Yeah. Before I answer that, let me just address something that was said. Yes, engines did have evaluation tailored by humans. I know that, but and of course that helped. But it will need much more, um, let's say, caveman power style for the engines to play at the same level if humans haven't helped them. But at the same time, the big chunk of their strength was calculation. So now to your back to your question. Of course, typically there was a big shift when AI came in and all those Alpha Zero games with the H pawn moving forward and
And
whatnot.
yeah, the neural networks helping
Some
out.
insight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the biggest, so when it comes to players in general, the biggest change was defense. People are much better defending today. It's much harder to win a game of chess today. Much harder, incomparably harder. It's not because people know more openings. It's like people understand the defense much better. It makes a big difference. 1900 today is much better than 1900 10 years ago or something. I can never expect to have a piece up against the 1900 nowadays against the first 20 moves. And honestly, I feel like 10 years ago, that would be almost okay. 10, 15 years ago, let's put it like that. Of course, like 15 years ago, I was only nine. So I was part of those that were giving the pieces away. Now, for, yeah, regarding what you mentioned of, when you look at a game and when you analyze the game
Yeah.
after the turn, you just turn on the engine, say something, and then put it down. Um, yeah, of course, like it's something most people do. I stopped doing that recently because you do lose a lot of content there, and it's something that I started advising basically all my students to do as well, to not do that and just before you go with the engine, comment your thoughts on it and then go over them normally with me, and then yes, turn on the engine, see what's going on.
Okay.
Because of course it's a useful tool. Yeah, you shouldn't ignore it.
Yeah, because nowadays I think it would be overkill for one to be a chess player and without even looking at a computer. Yeah.
Well, supposedly Gukesh didn't start working with a computer until he was 16, and with 16 he was already, I think, maybe 2600, right? Supposedly that's what Caruana said. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true or not, but
Yeah. The man's a beast. And once it comes like to these like huge chess players like 2700 plus, I think that once you are playing at the Olympiad, you probably cross path with some of them. Have you had the time like to chat with any of them, or like have a little funny story with them?
I had the opportunity. I probably didn't do it,
Okay.
but because I am not that type of person. Yeah, like my funniest moments with the strong players were online. So
Yeah.
again, for non, you should definitely check out if you search on YouTube Magnus Carlsen, Punter Blitz Magnus Carlsen. That's the dumbest move I've ever seen. That will pop out a game that was me as white. That I played an A4 and he started looking at it like with a perplexed face. And then he said, "That's the dumbest move I've ever seen." That was really funny. And I drew though, so I always feel like that's also funny on him. And then there was also a nice. I really like that moment. There's a banter with Svidler and Sopico during the Carlson Caruana match where they were taking um, like requests from people to do stuff to do like handicaps and stuff during the game. and he had Svidor, one of those suggested actually by Portuguese, João, suggested that he praised himself after every move, and Svidor is very humble, so it was really funny. And I wrote in the chat at that time that if he accepted my game, I would also do the challenge. And then it was really funny because it was basically like not really insults, but almost mocking game between me and him. And he would read my comments out loud, and he started saying stuff like, "This guy is crushing the challenge" and whatnot. That was really funny. I in Cities, I played the table tennis with him and some others, and I was close to coming to him and saying, "Hey, do you remember the real
Yeah.
Chuck Norris? Yeah, from Bantamweights." But I didn't do it. I'm too shy. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. So yeah, you guys can be sending in questions for Andre. He will do his best to answer. And I would also like to take this moment to appreciate everyone that has followed up until now. We had Maggie C, we had also Moonclore, the Chess Chameleon, and 179 Rubik. Okay, so thank you so much for the follow here. And I hope you enjoyed the little chess community that I've been building here. And on this time right now, I think we could transition into Andre showing us a game that he has here. This was a game that I asked him to pick, a game for him to show, and we're gonna analyze it a bit, and we're gonna see his thoughts on his game that he has played. Before we start, we have a question here that kind of works like a beautiful segue because it is. Do you have a favorite game that you played? So I think it is the perfect time.
Um, well, probably I'm going to say this one. I'm not so sure about favorite. I really like this one, both for instructive purposes and for the fact that it was one of the games where I had this idea from the beginning, and I think I managed to play it out well throughout the game. Typically, people say that their favorite games are the strongest wins, so this was not even a win; it was a draw. But it yeah, it was nice. Another game that I do like was my recent draw with Ivanchuk because I had drawn Ivanchuk previously, but in that game I was much worse. It was blitzing out everything. It didn't feel like a draw. This one it was a really nice fight, and it was really a draw. So that's probably one of my favorite games. I think for me it was better to draw Ivanchuk than win against Guzenov also 2 years ago when Guzenov is 26-60. So it's supposed to be a better result. But I feel like that game against Ivanchuk has some nice meaning.
Ivanchuk, who was playing in New York recently and has that viral video of him crying against
Oh yeah,
Naroditsky. Yeah.
yeah. Drew likes the game. He was playing against me at dead drawn opening. Sorry, not opening. Dead drawn end game for a long time. He really wanted to win, and that's another reason why I liked the game because I was playing someone that wanted to win. In the other game in Cities that I drew, it felt like nah, he was just blitzing out stuff.
Okay. So yeah, you can go ahead. You can give us like the basis of what came to happen in this game in terms of who the opponent was and where you played it.
Yeah. So this game is I'm white. Black is I have no idea what his name is, but I'm going to do my best. It's Karthi Kayan.
Karthikeyan, perhaps.
Yeah, it's an Indian guy. He was at the time 16, I think. This is Sitges 2022. And it was the last round of Sitges. So it was in the morning. And as typically I do in the mornings, I don't prepare much. And a lot of times during these years, 2022, I will just say, you know what? I play a London system and that's it. Um, and that's basically what happened. I was playing a young Indian guy. He's 24, 30. And yeah, and it throws in a really unflattering image. No, but
Sorry
I
for
was
the
playing.
freezes. Sorry.
Yeah. I was playing so a young Indian guy. I felt like I'm just going to play something. If I play something sharp, he's going to take my pieces. So I decided to go simply d4. At the time, I was playing a lot of London systems as well. So he went knight f6, knight f3, e6. So bishop f4. Here we have it. This is a very good opening. h3, bishop e7, knight e2, and black played h6. So I don't know what you think, but I would even like to use on this as to use this content as much as possible, and if I could ask people some questions if they want to answer.
Yeah, yeah,
What do
for
you
sure.
think?
This becomes interactive, and
Yeah,
can I play along as well?
yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. So that's nice. We can probably do a little bit of playing along with you, and people can also answer in the chat. So after h6, what is the what is black's threat? What is black's idea? Why is black playing h6 here?
um, I would guess is to maybe get the dark squared bishop.
Okay, yeah, exactly. With what move?
I think knight h5.
Yes, knight h5. So g5 has, as suggested, it's not as great because okay, let's say white goes c3 or something. You are actually weakening your position more than necessary. You can still go knight h5 here, but I mean, even here it's not so clear what is going on, and you are weakening your position just without necessity in this case. So typically in the London, a nice rule of thumb is that if g5 is covered, knight h5 becomes a threat, so you should go h3. So I did go h3.
Yeah,
All right.
basically, if h6 wasn't happening, the opponent after knight h5 would have, or like you would have bishop g5, actually. Yeah?
Yes, yes. So that's not a threat just yet because here you have bishop g5 and knight
Exactly.
stands kind of weirdly on h5 exactly.
Yeah.
So so here, of course, I went h3, and he went c5. So this move is logical. It's quite typical. It's trying to put some pressure on the center. And here, actually, I made a mistake. Not really a mistake, but I confused myself a little bit because there's a line where if black goes c5 very quickly, just like this, white has knight c3. Um,
We,
and knight b5 coming knight d6, and
yeah.
white is actually much better. But it's not this line, and I kind of thought it was. So I was a little bit confused, and I went knight c4, trying to go for, for kind of the same thing. It was a little bit of wrong pattern recognition in the opening, but it was also fine. It's not like it's a terrible opening.
Yeah.
So here, yeah, like white should probably instead of knight c4 just go something like bishop d3. But this
Or
is the
c3 maybe as well.
yeah. Would also all those would be just
Yeah,
okay.
the standard London moves. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So here, like for example, a good move is d6, and what I missed was that after dc5 has e5 intermediate move, and then they'll take on c5. Nothing is going on. Nothing bad is going on for black. So right. So here after knight c4, he went d5, which I was quite happy to see. So we got this position, and I think this is the starting moment of the game. And from here on, and this is why I like this game. From here on, I managed to implement an idea. No, started here and kind of culminated in the end of the game. Really, if I hadn't blundered eventually, that is that I'm going to fight against the b7 bishop. So the bishop on b7 is really bad. I have the e5 square under control, and I just want to fight against it pretty much. So there are a couple of important things here. Is that when you have a bad piece like this, it can mean two things. One, that it's actually a bad piece. So no, this bishop is pointing towards the point that's really good. It can mean it can actually be what's called overprotection. So overprotection in chess is when you have a pawn that controls squares that the opponent simply needs to use in order to develop their game. So let's imagine for a second that for some reason white needs to go c4. Right? There's nothing else white can do. And instead of imagining, let's actually just rewind and go to a situation where this is actually true. So the most obvious and easy way to understand overprotection is the advanced French. So in the advanced French, a lot of times black needs to go f6 to open up a little bit of the king side and just get rid of this annoying e5 pawn. So the e5 pawn means that the e5 pawn is really strong. If black needs to go f6, this pawn is going to disappear. So if white just starts placing a lot of pieces behind the pawn, those pieces are not bad, they are overprotecting the pawn. Because if black cannot play around the pawn, then once the pawn comes, these pieces open up, and the rook on e1 as well. So I can't enter no moves on chess, but um, all of the pieces will open up, right? So and then let's compare the situation in the game. So the thing is that in the London system, typically, white doesn't necessarily have to go either of these pawn breaks. So this bishop can really be bad. So that's a very important
Yeah, you
distinction.
can let it stay for a lot as long as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't need to play this, and your game can be developed elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the other line of the French, you can also not play F6, but you can't do much. Of course, you can go on the queen side, but it's in that case you really need to. In the French, if you don't go F6 a lot of times, you're going to get mated. So that's the reason. Whatever it is, the idea is that there will be a reason why you need to get rid of that pawn. In this case, there's really no reason to get rid of the d5 pawn, so I can fight for the bad bishop. So that's an important distinction to have. So he went a6 and I went c3. So that was actually the position that I had before. And he went knight d7. All right, it's fine. Bishop d3, b5. So the more pawns he places on the white squares, honestly, the happier I am. Because it's worsening and worsening this bishop here. c4, bishop c2. Of course, the bishop wants to stay on this diagonal. 95, and here white is already
And
quite
what if he was? What if he was like playing for b4 instead, like trying to open up the b file?
for black, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Imagine that black would play b4. Do you think it would
Yeah.
be more advantageous? I guess for
The
him.
thing is that it's still bad because now we kind of enter an exchange Slav territory where white is just better. These pawns can become weaknesses. White has very good control. It's like typically an exchange Slav like this. If you get your bishop out versus a bad bishop here, there's good pressure. And here in specifically, like feels like white is so much better developed that
My idea
some.
here was also to put like a5, bishop a6, but you can always stop it with queen e2. Yeah, I guess.
Um, yeah, and in this case, like 96 is also coming, and you probably
Mm-hmm.
don't have time for all of this, and bishop e5 and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think white's just too ready for conflict like this, because after all, white is better developed as well. So if black starts too much conflict, your piece will be more ready for a fight.
Um,
So yeah, so here
in
take
the,
take.
on the chat, there's also a question like if you had any model game in mind when you were trying to implement the idea of this.
I wouldn't say so, not really.
Okay,
Uh, I really have no idea. I
it was
just
just magic from your brain.
No, I mean not necessarily. I don't have like the game that I know because I haven't studied ever many games in this opening. I just kind of know stuff. Honestly, kind of seems a little bit random, but it is what it is. Like I know a lot of little things. I never studied too much games, so I don't have like this model game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So here black played bishop d6, and here I wanted you to try give moves for white and what you would consider for white in this position. Because I think this is a nice moment. Just there are many ways for white to play, but what moves would you consider?
Mm-hmm. I think we have. So I was gonna say the standard idea of like perhaps thinking about the pawn break on e4, but according to what you just said, you want to fight against the b7 bishop, so no pawn break. Um, I'm also thinking about a4 and maybe trying to get the queen involved into the action as well, because you're gonna try to attack on the king side. So perhaps queen f3, queen g3 could be an idea, but you have knight h5 there, so it's not cool.
All right.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the chat, there also queen f3 suggested. So any other ideas?
A3 as well. A3 has been mentioned.
Yeah, it's also a possibility. Okay.
And do you think A4 is interesting, or you think it's not cool?
I think it's a little bit unnecessary. We will see that move, but the thing is that white is playing on the king side. So unless you really need to open a second front, I don't think it's really necessary to go a4 like this, because this is going to be a race. White is going to attack the king side, black is going to attack on the queen side, and in general, as a general rule, you shouldn't touch the side where you are weaker. And in this case, white is clearly weaker on the queen side because there's less space there and less pieces. So a4 unless is really good. You
Yeah.
know that typical make good moves. It's not going to be very good. So bishop h2 f4 is also a very interesting possibility for sure.
I was also like in terms of trying to improve that idea, maybe bishop g3 f4 because then you have bishop h4 to put pressure on the knight because the bishop would like become a bit weird here, like trumped by your own pawns, I guess.
Yeah, but at the same time, once the knight comes to e4, it hits the bishop with tempo. I'm not so sure what is best, but both are fine. Like trying to go f4, that's the main idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alright, so all those options are fine. Like queen f3, for instance, is one of the best moves. And the engine gives something like this: queen f3, queen g3, and this position honestly is just very good for white.
Ah, so he likes that variation, but he doesn't
Yeah,
care.
because
Okay.
you cannot really say that the knight is worse than the bishops here. Like it's just a strong knight. And the fact that black played h6 so early actually comes to bite them because f6 is completely impossible now. There's always this g6 weakness. So the knight on e5 is basically on an outpost. And when you have the bishop pair, it's really important two things. One, that there are ways to open up the position, but secondly, that the knight doesn't have an outpost. So I like to think as bishop pairs, that the bishop pair, not so much as strong by themselves, which they definitely are, but I feel like a really important thing of the bishop pair is to make the knight miserable. Because if you look at a position with the bishop pair, but the knights have nice outposts, typically it's not going to be so bad. But if the knights don't have anything to do, bad knights just ruin their position, and that's one of the strengths of the bishop pair. In this case, the bishop's really strong on, sorry, the knight is really strong on e5. So everything collapses here. So this is a possibility. Another one that the engine likes is h4, and then something like g4. By the way, a4 was, we'll see this theme in a second. I won't comment too much on it.
Okay.
This is a possibility. Now, bishop h2 as well. But in the game, so my mindset here was that honestly, I wasn't sure if touching pawns on the king side was good. I didn't even know much about this, even going to say opening. And not being sure what to do. I didn't know if I want to go f3, 4 because it looks fine, but then opens up the b7 bishop. I didn't know if I wanted to go g4 because it looks fine, but opens up my king. So
Yeah.
it feels like everything is a little bit dangerous. And it was morning. I didn't want to calculate too much. My inferno week wasn't even high. So all of this kind of contributed me to just don't do any of those things. So I just continued following my plan. My plan is to fight against this b7 bishop. And when you fight against a bad piece, there is something called the duel. And the duel is the idea that if you have a bad a bad piece in the opponent's position, you should exchange all the other minor pieces so you can get one good piece versus one bad piece. And this is basic math. So if you have, let's talk about this case. White has 3 good pieces, black has 2 good pieces and 1 bad. This is 3-2-2, right? If you exchange all the other pieces, let's say this bishop versus this bishop, it's 1-0, 1 good piece to 0 good piece. That's like an infinite ratio, right? And that's why that's kind of the mathematical basis for this exchange. So yeah, I wanted just to exchange all the pieces. But the thing is that, and my idea here was I want to go bishop h2, but not with the idea of f4 because I don't want to give up this e4 square, but rather to move my knight so the bishop is exchanged. But the thing is that here, if I move my knight, he doesn't have to exchange the bishop. He can just go bishop e7 and kind of laugh at me. So I decided to play queen e1. Obviously, as you probably can imagine, the engine is like, what? But it's not too bad, but it's really unfazed with this move.
Because you haven't committed what you wanted to do with your queen.
Yeah, I think I really like this move because I'm preparing against one day going before. It's definitely going to go before one day, so this is cannot be too bad. I'm preparing against stuff like this with f3 and queen g3. But also, and that's the main point of the move, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
because I want to checkmate this bishop. When I always when I expose this game, when I show this game, I like this because it's kind of ridiculous in a way, but it works. So it's fun and nice. So I want to checkmate the bishop because in the game I didn't see a way for him to not play either queen c7 or queen e7. These are natural moves. This because if he ever castles, then I'll go g4, g5. This I don't. I'm sure that this is good. I just didn't know if opening up my king, if the king was not on the king side, was good enough. So, and if he doesn't play queen c7 or queen e7, I didn't know what to do. But if he plays any of these moves, and he did play one of them, I checkmate the bishop because let's see the game here. Once I move my knight, this bishop is pinned, so he cannot move. And if the queen was on e7, he couldn't play bishop e7 anymore. So this was basically my idea, and I just go bishop h2, and there's no good way to stop knight f3. I guess you could go queen d8, but queen d1 is not that bad of a move, right? One bishop h2. So that's very useful. So again, the engine doesn't like this, probably prefers f3, but this also is fine. And then he played g6, which kind of suggests that my strategy was working. And in the post-analysis game, he told me that he had no idea what to do. So it really shows the practicality of this setup because he never wants to castle short. But what else is he supposed to do? It's difficult. I mean, if you don't know what to do, touching pawns probably not the correct thing, but it was what it was. So here I went knight f3.
Do you think there was a possibility of committing the queen to e7? Ah, but you don't have time. I was gonna say like to put the queen on e7 and then to fianchetto the bishop, like bishop f8, g6, bishop g7, but you don't have time for that because the.
How would that work? Because the bishop is on d6, right?
Yeah, maybe before queen c7.
But it will take forever.
Like g6 now probably.
Yeah, you could try that, but you're also moving more pawns on the king side and putting more pawns on the color of your bad bishop. So I don't.
But at least I can save the bishop.
Yeah, that is true. But the thing is that this is just kind of my
kind of like this here. Just for it to be on the board.
Yeah, no, I understand. But the thing is that this is sort of my idea, and it's interesting, but it's not even the best way to play the position. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
start doing stuff like this, I'll just go f3, 4, and the boy can get correct.
Yeah, and then you'll simply adapt. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like the black's position already a little bit sad. So here I went bishop h2, g6, and knight f3. Right, take. So I think this is an important moment because I feel like a lot of people would look at this and feel like white has lost tons of time. The knight was on e5, now it's on h2, and not much has happened. The thing is that it's very important to understand this. I feel like chess has almost the rules of physics. There are rules of chess that almost rule everything, and that's tactic and dynamics. So almost I feel like most of the relationships between pieces kind of come down to tactics and dynamics. And just a quick definition is that tactics, a tactic advantage, is the type of advantage that doesn't go away with time. It stays for a long time, medium, long term. And that's what is this? It's material, it's pawn structures, it's stuff like this. So stuff that really needs the opponent's intervention to change. Dynamics, on the other hand, it's stuff that goes away with time. So development is the easiest type of advantage, and so is the king and safety.
Yeah, king in the center, for example. Yeah.
Sorry?
King in the center, for example.
Exactly. Yeah. So if the king is on the center, but it can castle in say 2 moves, you have a dynamic advantage of 2 moves. You can try to do something with it, and it goes away. In the days of Steinitz, the first world champion, they only knew dynamic advantages. There's that important thing that well known saying that if you have an advantage, you have to use it, otherwise it goes away. This is just knowing dynamics, and it was what it was. That's why they always played King's Gambits, and all the pieces were flying around because they felt like they didn't know there was a tactic advantage. They just thought that you needed to get the initiative. By the way, and fun fact, I feel like this is going a little bit off a tangent, but that's very deeply related to the philosophy of war at the time. It was called the cult of attack, and they felt like whoever had the initiative had the advantage, so you needed to attack first. By the way, again, a little bit off, but I feel like this is...
No, it's interesting. It's interesting.
So, that's one of the reasons why, a big reason why the First World War happened. Of course, there were many, but it's not like a lot of people feel like it was the Germans' fault or whatnot. But it was just a thought at that time. All the countries were mobilizing, and if everyone thought that whoever attacked had the advantage, it was natural for one of them to strike first, right? But all of them were mobilizing. Like in the First World War, there was no real bad guy. Of
Yeah.
course, in comparison with the World War II, that's where there were, we know who the bad guys were. But I feel like this is it's funny. It's a funny connection because chess is a little bit like a battlefield, and at the time they really felt that you needed to strike first. Anyway, so dynamics, development, and stuff that disappears. So what has happened here is that White exchanged tactic advantage for a little bit of dynamism. So we got the bishops out. That's forever. That's not coming. But we lost a lot of time moving around. Now, did Black use that time for anything constructive? My argument in the game was that no. They moved the pawn to g6. Yeah, nice. And moved the queen to c7. So nothing was going on. So typically, when you play chess, you should strive more for tactic advantages if you don't see any dynamism with them. So a typical mistake that beginners and many people do is when they have 3 pawns here, and the piece you have to recapture a piece on g3 to decide whether to take with the f pawn or the h pawn. And this is clearly a question of dynamics versus tactics. Tactically, you need to take with the h pawn. You improve a pawn because now suddenly the g pawn is a better pawn.
Yeah, take towards the center. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you take with the f pawn, you are improving your position dynamically. The rook is open. But if you cannot convert these dynamics into anything tactic, it's useless. And then the pawn structure is bad forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in the game, basically, I felt like the tactics that I got with this were just much better than the dynamics that I lost. So he played 94 here. And I thought that his idea was to go h5, h4, and say that I cannot play f3 because knight g3 is weak. But apparently, it was not his idea. He just said he played something. But in the game, I thought it was a nice move. So here, I played knight f3. So my knight was badly placed. I still wanted on e5. But mainly, I was thinking about knight d2. Exchanging off. I want a duel. I want the two minor pieces. So here he went g5, which is a little bit dubious. There's no reason. Like I remember distinctively when I was playing the game, I thought, really, you're going to checkmate me? Come on.
Well, before going into that, how would you say you compared the idea of basically like improving your own knight versus exchanging the one good knight that he has? How would you say it was your thought process in terms of coming to a conclusion on what the best move would be?
In the game, like I said, I just wanted to get the duel. The engine prefers to keep the knight on d5, but I just wanted to exchange everything.
Okay.
Okay. Bishop, yeah. So I didn't even consider too much knight e5. But this is another really good. Sorry, not in this move, on the next move. So here that he played g5, I thought, you know what? Now we're definitely not going to castle short. So I'm going to go a4. And this is just a little bit of I'm poking the queen side now, because now there's a reason. Because now he felt we gave the vibe that Black was going to castle long, right? Because he's playing g5. So no, I just poked him and kind of said, I can also open the queen side. And do you really want to castle long? So this is a good moment to go e4.
So that's when you decided to play e4. Like you saved it for a moment to kind of like show that you can open and play on both wings, yeah?
yeah, exactly. Because now the king is, where do you want to put it? And he played short castle. That makes sense. But this is something that I wanted to see, because g5 is also weak. So, Gustavo is asking, are you ever afraid of not having enough imbalance here?
Yeah.
But I have a big imbalance. So I have a much better minor piece. And I have much less moved pawns, many less moved pawns. He has more weaknesses, basically. So White has to be better. I think there's still a lot of game left to play, especially with the queens on. So another important thing that's happening here is that we have all the heavy pieces on the board, and there's a thing called the fourth phase of chess, which is the phase where only heavy pieces remain on the board, pawn and pawn. So, and in that phase, the most important thing is king safety and passed pawns if there are, So understanding that I'm exchanging a lot of minor pieces, I'm getting ready for the fourth phase. Seeing that his king is unsafe is really good for me as well. So I think I'm going to be better in whatever phase.
When you talk about fourth phase, what will be the first three phases? Are you talking about like opening?
I think it's opening middle games and end games. They're just this thing I
Okay,
have anyway. It's called fourth phase, but Alekin was very good at it,
okay,
supposedly.
okay.
All right. So here I play 92, true to my idea, but the engine likes 95, and I really, really like this idea. This is the line given by the engine: 95, f6, and g4, h5, 92. So in the last, I don't know what, 8 moves, this I can't even draw the arrows because which has deleted them, right? But the knight did this circuit twice,
Yeah,
and it's the best line because I sacrifice dynamics. But what has the opponent done with that? Nothing. He just touched the pawns. And there's a very important distinction in chess between tempo gains and the weakening of the position or just useless moves. And these pawns are definitely not tempo gain. These are not moves that Black wanted to play. So now the engine wants to go knight f3 92 and say that it's a better version in the game because all his pawns are touched. And if you go to a fourth phase without any pawn on the seventh rank, you should probably be a little bit afraid. So this is just a very nice engine
yeah,
suggestion.
because the king would have a lot more air to worry about and the
Exactly.
open lines of attack against him. Yeah.
Exactly. So usually when you grab space, so grabbing space is moving pawns, you want to have as many minor pieces as possible behind that space in order to utilize it for something. And it's harder to keep track of it, let's put it like that, if there are no minor pieces, and it's very easy for the heavy pieces to come in. So everything ties together. Now,
Let me
yeah,
just ask you something that is a bit more meta, but it has to do with what Gustavo was asking before. Like, if you were playing against a considerably weaker opponent, imagine that you were playing against, I don't know, an 1800 here, would you think you would have played the same way? Or, like, do you think it would change the way you would conceive of a plan, maybe?
maybe yes, but that's I don't think that's very correct. I'm usually typically afraid that my opponents are going to play very well and I'm not going to be able to win. I have been changed, but also that's because I haven't studied endgames almost ever and I don't feel very strong at endgames. So now that I've been working on endgames and understanding endgames better, I really do feel like endgames still have a lot to be played on and people always make a mistake somehow in the
Okay,
most glorious positions. So I will know in 2022 maybe. Yeah.
okay.
So here I did play 92. Take and take. White is just better. Okay. So he played f5, which honestly I was happy again. Please move all your pawns, sir. I'm probably very happy with that. And I went queen e2, just try to go h5. So here is the last moment in the game that black could almost equalize. So what should black do?
Probably try to exchange the bishop. I guess that is the determining factor here in terms of you conducting your plan. Um,
Yeah, but that's difficult, right? How would you do it?
you have to open up lines. So, like the idea of bishop c8, bishop d7, bishop e8, bishop h5 is out of the question for sure. So you have to b takes a4 and then bishop c6, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So this
Because
was Black's
because
last
you
moment.
can swap it or at least propose an exchange. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are two things that come into consideration here. One is that Black is being attacked on the side. When you are attacked on one wing, you need to either open up the center or counter attack on the other side. So Black's only shot is to go at the queen side and try to create some pressure against b2. Of course, getting this tempo with the possible exchange of bishops is very useful. So this was the last chance to try to get something.
Okay.
E4, e3. The engine claims almost equality. I don't believe it, but objectively, it's probably a draw. White is better. So white is still better, but this was like the last, really, the last moment where black would have got
And
this chance.
during the game, did you think of this, or did
Vaguely,
it didn't
vaguely.
occur?
Uh, Myself, I vaguely thought about it, but
Okay.
I didn't think too much of it. I just thought b2 was not going to be watchable. So now it's a very very important moment, and I would really like to ask for some ideas from the people watching. Because what would you play as white? White has a sequence that really is well played, and it's not winning or anything, but it should increase white's advantage quite considerably. And it's something that it doesn't feel very intuitive to a lot of people, and that's going to be nice to talk about some things.
Okay, while people are thinking, I'm just gonna take the time to say thank you for Cardapitio, Emil Keaton, and JDW281 for the follow here on the stream. This is a special stream celebrating 200 followers with International Master André Sousa. Okay, so time to think on what the master told us to think about. So, an idea for white, yeah?
Yeah.
How to make progress.
How to improve your position, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I guess that he's threatening to take on a4 right now, so we have to take that into consideration. I don't think we can afford to close the queen side, I think, because even though a5 puts the bishop, the c6 bishop in a blunt position, I think that you kind of put all your chips on the king side, I guess. But I don't know if it's enough. Okay, so Jota Pedro is saying f4, and we have also g4 from Feral Moves here.
Yeah, both are logical options, but there is some inclusion very important to play for white. Honestly, like this was something that in the game he told me he didn't even think about. Like he thought that it was just bad, and that's why I like it. So let's give one more minute because I really think this is a moment. So white definitely wants to go g4. White definitely wants to go f4, but can white somehow improve the position before that happens? And Gustavo as well.
Queen h5.
It also makes sense, but black was probably going to go queen g7, and then you also have to reckon with bishop e8 maybe, so you might be helping black more than you're helping.
Yeah, because it's justifying like the possibility of the bishop rerouting. That maneuver is very Dutch-like or even French-like bishop e8, bishop g6. So I guess this could be also the principle of playing on two sides, I guess.
A little bit. So here, the best move is a takes b5.
And you played it, yeah? Yeah.
Yes, a takes b5, but now it really becomes the really strong move, which is rook takes a8. And this is the move that he said that he just thought it didn't make much sense.
Removing the rook from the defense of...
the king side in general.
Yeah, okay.
So a very important thing that I want to mention is that when I ask if you, what would you say rooks want? Because pieces in chess want things in general. And what would you say rooks want in chess? So we've discussed this in the, before together, but what would you guys say rooks want in chess?
Open file, says Mr. Big Boss.
All right, exactly. So that's what everyone says.
They want activity, yeah?
Yeah, but they want kind of open file, right? That's what everyone says, but that's not the true story, or at least the full story. And that's what's really important. That's why my opponent mistakenly thought that this was bad for white. The thing is that rooks don't want open files. They want, and this is actually written in my system by names of it, they want to enter the 7th and 8th rank of your opponent. Yes, Simon. I wonder who told you that.
Simon Dragon.
Many times that, yeah. I don't want to suggest that you didn't know it before. So rooks need the 7th and 8th rank to penetrate. Why the 7th and 8th rank? Because that's where the pawns start on the 7th rank. So they don't control squares on their sides or behind them. But for a rook to come to those squares, the rook needs an open file. So that's kind of simple as that. But this type of mistake is something that people do on many things. For example, double pawns. Double pawns are not bad. by themselves. But a lot of people don't like to play positions or allow double pawns because they are taught or think that they are bad. No, what's bad is a weakness. A weakness is a pawn that cannot be defended by other pawns and can be attacked. And typically, double pawns and isolated pawns are weaknesses because if they are doubled, they cannot defend them with each other. So, but if you have a double pawn or an isolated pawn or whatever that is not attackable, that is not a weakness, then it doesn't matter. So, for example, imagine an endgame if the opponent only has a king and you have three islands of pawns, it doesn't matter, right? They're not weaknesses. And if having those double pawns allow for something better, more important, then you should definitely do that. So that's just that's another example. So in this case, the rook wants entry points, but here a2 is going to be very easily covered by bishop e1, and the only entry point that's left is a1, but that's also very kind of almost out of game. It's not going to be active. It's all even a target to tactics, right? With bishop h7 check discovery. I don't know to remove the arrows all at once, so I have to do one by one. The a file is not super important here. The game is happening on the king side, so I'm actually winning time. Simple as that. By taking on a8. Nothing is going on with the rook. So much that after g4, he went rook f8 again. So I just won tons of time. Completely useless open draw. I feel like
Let me just make you a question here. I know I'm understanding your thought process, but how would you like suggest one thinks about opening up our king? Do you have any rule of thumb that we could maybe think about it during the games?
Yes, so there are rules for almost everything in chess. What is very important for people to understand is that chess is a concrete game. So there will always be exceptions to all rules, but there are many rules that you can follow. So when opening up your king, there are two main things you need to take into consideration. One is center. So you can open, so let's put it like this. You can open your king if, one, the center is either closed or under heavy control of yourself. And if on the side that you're opening your king, you have more space, which typically means that you have easier capabilities of bringing your pieces over. So if the opponent doesn't have space, he cannot really bring attackers. So that's going to be fine. In this case, in particular, both sides are almost as open, but because white is playing basically a piece up, because of the bishop on c2, it's going to be a fight with a piece up on the king side, so it's completely fine to open. All right.
Okay.
I took and went f4. Just now it's time to open up. Everything is ready. Queen here, take. He cannot take with the pawn because f5 was hanging. King h1, threatening the not very hidden rook g1. Here, rook g1, so now improving the rook. And queen h2, beautiful. I remember playing this move and feeling so warm inside. Because now I have the bishop pair again. I had one bishop, and now I have the bishop pair because the queen is a rook and the bishop at the same time. And now I have placed my queen on the diagonal, the bishop on the other one. Everything is perfect. So here, objectively, the best move is bishop d7, but this is suffering like hell, and white is probably going to win. But he played f4, which is losing, but created enough chaos that I managed to not win this. So rook e6, and this win the b. So he told me that his mistake was that he thought the only move for white was king g2, which is a little bit unfortunate because f3.
Checkmate.
So he didn't see queen g1, so he just kind of had to go back, and he's a piece down. So now here, white wins in many ways. I saw three candidates. Two of them win, and the one I played does not. So how would you win for white here? Exactly, Simon.
So candidates here for us to convert the position, yeah?
Yeah, because now it really is winning. It's a full piece up.
We have queen g6 there suggested.
Yeah. So I think there are two problems with that. One is that at the very minimum, I can go queen e1 check again. But then secondly, I feel like I'm not entirely sure if I can take on c8 with a queen. Yes. But yeah, I think there are others like queen takes e3 check as well.
We can put it on the board as well. You
Oh
can.
yeah, sorry.
Can you put it on the board just for us to see?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So here, queen g1, and here Gustavo's idea with this one, but it fails because black can take with a queen and still pin.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a little trick. But at the same time, black could, for instance, take on it. The king is too exposed. White is not going to win this. Right.
Okay.
So let's go back here.
So an obvious candidate, which I think is the one that draws, is queen g4, probably.
Right.
But I'm not seeing the other ones. I was looking at queen g6, but I'm not sure. It has to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm looking at the queen f1 because it controls the pawn and also like pins the f pawn from capturing on e3.
Yeah. Yeah. So queen f1 was one of the candidates I had. Queen g4 was the other, and there's a third one which is bishop f5. So all of these three candidates are interesting. Bishop f5 I think is the cleanest, and it's really bad to not play this because the point is that if you take on f5, rook c8 wins the game immediately. It's checkmate. And the line I didn't like was f takes, and I didn't know what to do here. But there are many wins. The easiest is to just take back, and rook h6 wins the queen if black takes. So this is an easy win. So bishop f5 will be the simplest. Queen f1 also wins. I didn't like was rook e8. Again, I missed this take h6 idea. Again, the queen is. There are better wins even, but this is I think this the simplest, and white just wins again. So the one I played was queen g4, but why does queen g4 draw?
They can trade and take on e3.
Yes,
And they have a very powerful passed pawn there. At least it's a scary passed pawn.
yeah. So basically, my mistake was the assumption that if he ever exchanges queens, he's lost. This is a typical bad. This is a typical mistake to make in calculation. So in calculation, you should always, without exception, check the checks, captures, and strong threats. I like to say, um, and um, and in this case, this is a capture. You should really like you should reach this position in your calculations, and this because it's all captures. And the thing is that there's no way to stop the pawn. Black or either stop the pawn or not lose the bishop in the process. So black is threatening this checks, rook f1 followed by rook f2 and rook takes c2, and e2 as well. So it's it was a nice resource. So here I drew with repetition by repetition. Like this was really also psychological because there's no reason for a white to not go for the rook endgame, like maybe something like this, and just play this rook endgame here. So after something like this, take. I mean, it's a draw, but white is definitely pressing. At the time, I was even worse at rook endgames than I am now, and I've somehow thought that I could lose this. I have no idea how, but of course, white is better. The king is coming. There's a pass pawn on the G file. White can still press this very very nicely. Today, I will be very happy with this endgame, but at the time, I was not. After losing that, I was very nervous and whatnot. I just kind of called it a day. So, but I think it doesn't. It's kind of sad that I didn't win this because it would be a nice, better story. But I feel like the game itself is really, really nice, and that's how I like to show this game whenever I have the chance, for something like this.
Firo Move is asking if this is a recent game.
2022. I don't know if you consider that recent or not.
Okay, so it was a very interesting game. It had a lot of, I would guess, a lot of strategic thinking, and it was nice to see the way you were like conducting your plan and like adapting on the way and reacting to what your opponent was doing. And it's always nice to have the opportunity of listening to an international master explaining his thought process. So it's been great. So Gustavo here is asking, is there any way you've improved dealing with nervousness in the endgame besides endgame knowledge and practice?
I think there is no great distinction. Of course, there's always going to be some distinction, but I really do feel like there's no great distinction between between confidence and practice. I think, like in life in general, if you haven't practiced, you are not going to be confident. If you have seen a lot of stuff and worked a lot, you're going to be confident. So in this case, the only I will be less nervous if I had studied it beforehand. I think it's as simple as that, really. And in this case, I didn't, I haven't studied endgames at the time, so so I wouldn't be confident with that. Like same thing with calculation and defense. Once you do a lot of defense calculation, you're going to be confident in it, and not, and you're going to be afraid of attacks if you don't do it.
Okay,
I
okay.
I really feel like there's no way around the working in general, or yeah,
Yeah, there's no way of escaping the putting in the work. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let me also thank to JDW281 and also the Nekis and Fiddle Moose for resubscribing with Prime for 2 months. So yeah, pretty cool. Thank you so much. And actually, now we are entering a stage here where I would ask Mr. André here if he wants to play 1 or 2 games with me, Max. I know that he wants to go get some rest, so I won't bother
No,
him.
it's fine. Absolutely.
If we want to like maybe I think will actually be really interesting because now by me playing you'll see like the huge difference of strength between an IM and like a regular Portuguese streamer. But it will be very interesting. Maybe we can do like a simple blitz game, 3+2 regular game, um, and then we can do like a chess 961 perhaps. Um, do you want to try out chess 960? Like
Yeah, sure, sure. Like
sure.
whatever you feel like, I'm down. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, before we go, Feral Moves is asking how would you press that end game? I guess generally.
Well, it's a rook endgame, so you should definitely bring your king. You should try to push your passed pawns and activate your rook. The rook is fine where it is right now, so the only way I see to play is to basically go grab the d5 pawn and see what happens. I don't think there are many ways to press this, but you know, honestly, if I didn't know beforehand it was a draw, I would be kind of concerned. I think that probably the best way to draw is going to be something like this and say that you cannot take my pawn without this guy going forward. So I think this seems like pretty. Yeah, I think this is probably just a draw, right? I can never take on d5, so this is going to be a draw. Um, but I wonder if I could just go king e5. I feel like I might be. Yeah, but maybe even king e5 is possible. I wonder. Maybe not because rook b3 here. And I would have to take. I can never take on c3, so this is a draw. B3, yeah, I was wondering about it, but honestly, I'm not so sure because my rook is definitely going to come behind the passed pawn. I could be winning as white here. I could be simply winning. I'm going to take on c4 next and go rook a check. The more I look at it, the more I think I'm winning. If I'm not missing some way to promote, of course, but I don't think I am. So maybe he had to go to just go with this rook b3, and this kind of I think it's just a draw. I mean, a draw where I might be losing as white. So yeah, this was a stretch in the rope a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, great. Also, we have another master here, Mr. Fidalgo. He has just subscribed with Prime, so thank you so much. Okay, so let's play here against Mr. André Sousa. He has a kind of like an awesome name here. Hello, it's Dimitri.
Yeah, I've been asked sometimes about the background, the backstory for it, and it's really the most boring thing ever. So when I created the account 10 years ago, I used to play a lot of CS:GO, and I liked the YouTube video that it's a parody of Adele's "Hello, It's Me," and it was a "Hello, It's Dimitri," and it's basically a parody of how Russians play CS:GO. So that's that. Now you know the the reason.
Hello, it's Dimitri. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go casual because I don't want to bleed rating. Okay. Okay.
I don't know how much rating you have. Okay, MC 1900. So I think you don't lose any rating. So casual is fine. So if I don't win, I lose like 50 rating
Yeah.
points or something.
Yeah. No, because this is the streaming account, and here I'm like 150 points lower because I'm talking when I'm when I'm playing. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So casual 3+2, standard real time. Yeah. Let's see.
Right. Let's go.
Okay. So hello, it's Dimitri. Let's see how he tackles the
My
Sicilian.
flare, it disappeared. I had a sad face next to it, but it
Yeah,
disappeared.
you have the sad face here. Yeah.
But in my which is not showing the sad face, right?
Yeah, sad face against the little ghost that I have. Okay, the
Yeah,
Rossolimo.
flare are not showing for some reason.
Okay, you take immediately. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what to do anymore. So that's that. The secret to beating me is to really play I play a Rossolimo and then take with the B pawn. I have no idea what to play against it. Question, I guess.
Okay. Can I play c5 here? I don't know.
I haven't calculated a thing, so maybe.
No,
Right.
bishop d7. Okay.
All right.
Do you think the dragon still has its merits on your level?
People have been playing the dragon again. Caruana drew Dinguiran very easily in the Olympiad with the dragon. It's playable, yeah. It's probably not. I think it's fine. It's probably not the best opening in the world, but it's definitely fine.
Okay. So is a5, a4 here something to go for? Do you think? I'm asking my opponent for ideas.
Oh, you're talking to me. You had a very good move, but I didn't want to say it because I'm trying to win.
Was it
Because
c5 and the threatened stuff?
I'm pretty sure that wins material. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like looking at maybe c5, but I didn't want to embarrass you here on stream.
Yeah. Thank you. If I had said something, that would be I played a blitz game many years ago where the opponent missed mate, and after he missed mate, I wrote in the chat, "Haha, you missed this mate," and then I looked at the position, and there was no way to stop it. So that was that. That was really funny at the time. Well, it loses a pawn, Gustavo. So I don't know how much trash talk I can. But, I had one ready for if I can be cheeky.
Okay.
But now I'm fine again. Just all the pawns on the white squares. Everything is really beautiful.
Yeah. I think.
I don't think I need to practice trash talk.
Rook b8.
I'm natural already. I'm naturally good at it for whatever reason. But and Svidor agreed at the time. So
I have an extension where I think it's Svidler can make comments on our game. I think this could be an interesting add here to the game, maybe. I don't know if I have it here. Let me see if I have it here.
all right, I think it's time to do something.
Yeah.
I'm preparing.
Yeah, so e5 generally is a sad move to play on the dragon. I think I need to do stuff here. Maybe strike. I should have played c4 earlier. c5 earlier, I guess. Oh, I just noticed that we have a hype train going on. Hype train going on. Okay. So I'm getting cooked.
Maybe not. I'm not so sure. All right, sure. Let's go back. No pharaoh, because at the time there was no bishop. The bishop was on c1, so white couldn't take back on a1. It was just a pawn down.
Okay, so I at least got a4 in. So something is happening for sure. Not.
Yeah. Very bad position that I have. Really bad.
That is why you've pre-moved with the set face. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I have had a sad face as my flair because I know it's me who's going to play. So I'm already ready.
Now the question is, can I take this pawn? c5 will drop. Okay, once we get to time scramble, you are gonna scramble me, I guess. So,
I am not going to either deny or confirm that statement. All right. Can I take this pawn?
I think this was a bad move. Maybe e4.
Again, I will not deny or confirm that statement.
Okay, I'm gonna make e4.
And I take.
I guess, but if we're
The adrenaline was too much.
yeah. Yeah, getting cooked. And now you can take on f5. Yeah, this is just sadness all around.
It's still.
Yeah, but there's some tricks. Yeah, I'm seeing some.
Nah, just grab everything. Pray for the best.
Yeah, this is just a crazy game here. Yep, king there, and now I got nickels. I have nothing here. Yeah, I can't even like leave the back rank. Yeah, now I'm gonna get toast. Where's the final blow?
Yeah, just gonna advance the pawn, I guess. Go, pawn, go. You have a dream. I take that. Check. Oh, come on! I need to promote to a knight for mate. I don't have it. I don't have it. Are you kidding me? I need to change my settings.
Really? You have the auto queen?
Yeah. that will be made. All right, let's promote to a queen.
Okay, I lost on time. It's fine. Okay.
I think it will be made.
Okay, so I actually wasn't trumped. Like I wasn't streamrolled here. I survived for a bit. So let me just do, before we go chess 960, can we do like one bullet game?
Oh yeah, sure, but that's not going to be a lot of talking there, but for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of sadness.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, 1+1, where we have 1 second. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's not what I usually play, but that's fine. Of course, that's fine.
Okay, let's see. So French time here. I'm gonna work with my French bishop over here, Monsieur Baguette.
Well, I'm already worse.
Okay. Okay. And here? I think I'm better, yeah?
I'm not so sure, actually.
Oh, because of the open F file now. You want to...
Oh, I mean, knight on G6 just really bad. I mean, you're probably okay, for sure. Like, you might be a little bit better, yeah, but not much.
Okay. My trick is to get you to talk to me.
Your pieces are just too bad for you to be better, but of course you're not worse at all.
Okay. So this is trade heaven here.
Yeah, for those that were asking if I would change my strategy if I needed to win, this is the most boring endgame you could probably see in a bullet. I'm really not. It's really funny how the difference of playing 1+1 or 1+0. Like I never play 1+1, and like I have so much time, I don't know what to do with it. Because most of 1+0 is just trying to flag the opponent basically.
Yeah,
Or
but
doing
here
something.
you can think for a moment.
Yeah, you can think it's weird. It's really weird.
It's kind of like a
It's
bullet on
weird.
steroids.
You can actually play chess. It's really strange.
Yeah.
I am not used to it. All right, so I kind of wanted the pawn on g3 again, so that's the good thing of having double pawns. It's still a bad position, of course, but not bad. It's like equal. All right. Can I take with a pawn? Should I take with a pawn? Maybe. Nice, probably better with a knight.
There's no follow-ups.
Yeah, I totally saw that, of course. I calculated everything.
Okay. So I'm gonna...
Pharaoh, 1+1 is for the brain rot. Right, let's put the pawn there.
Chess brain rot is something.
Yeah, let's pretend that I'm better here. Can we do it? Check. Oh, now I'm better.
Yeah, the king's... he enters. Yeah, now this is just sad. It was a draw.
Nah, it's always a draw, but it isn't.
True, that is true. Okay, at least I have two passers. Connected passers.
Actually, it's something nice to know is that it's better to have just one passer than two, because if you have two, it takes twice the time to promote them. Yeah, that's really a thing.
Okay, I'm gonna resign here. I have respect.
I have to go another one. These are too short.
Okay, another one here. Now with white. Let's try the London here against the London specialist.
Now, I have a reputation for the London. I'm not going to play it on stream.
Really?
Yeah, but of course it's very easy to see it, but to find it because you can just check my games. But yeah,
Smart.
But it's pretty much repeated. Like there's no game. It was played against me by Lataza, and yeah, after I found that, it's like that's really that. There's not much to do here.
Okay.
Don't tell me you are strategizing in 1 minute chess.
I was thinking for a moment, yeah.
I think that's not allowed. I'm pretty sure that's that violates the WeChess 2 OS.
You think they're gonna come after me?
Probably, yeah. I wanted to castle, but I picked up the rook first.
You wanna take back? You can.
No, I'm joking. It's still a horrible position, though.
Okay. So here, I guess. Here.
No, the thing, Gustavo, is that people don't know it, so I always get good results. But against someone that does know it, it's not very good. Okay, my bishop is gone. I'm happy enough. Probably gonna take that. I've seen worse, honestly.
Yeah, the knight on d6 was gonna be a monster there. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen worse, but honestly, when you've seen my games, that's really easy to do.
Okay, so I've ran out of pawn moves there.
switch the plan.
Yeah. Okay.
This was really stupid. Okay, let's put the knight there. This was a really hard move again. It's crazy. Right. Let's do that. Wherever. Let's play for time. really bad move because for some reason I assumed you were going to take en passant. I should have played f6. What a horrible move.
Okay, now I have passers.
Yeah.
But the time's gonna kill me, I guess.
But the king is exposed, fourth face. We've talked about this.
Yeah, true. That is true.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Okay, at least passed pawns must be pushed, as they say.
Now it's actually quite fine. So it should be good. Push. For fuck's sake, it was very stupid.
Okay. Can I cook some magic here? I don't know. I'm gonna get checked.
The pass pawn and whatnot, so I think it's a draw again. But yeah, it's not a pleasant draw. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And this will be the moment where I will try to flag, but now it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, because yeah. Okay. Can I do this? Okay. So
I have the feeling that this is a draw.
can I have a draw against Mr. I am? Or do you think you'll... Well, okay, you want to mate me. Okay, so 50 moves.
No, not really, but I really feel like we should play 1-0 next.
Okay.
Okay, good game.
Good game, Mr. I am André Sousa. Okay, I'm gonna put you 1 KO.
Yeah, let's do it. That's going to be fun.
Okay, so now I can't really talk. Let me focus. Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
No time to cough. No time for anything.
No time to cough. It's a beautiful catchphrase there. Okay. Ha! You can't jump there.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus. This is my brain can't process this.
Yeah, this is looking good, I think. I should be better.
Yeah. I just gave a knight.
I thought D2 was winning, but it isn't. Oh no. Okay, whatever. I have to win this now. Go king, go. The dream. That's more like it.
Okay. Jesus. My God.
Yeah, it makes a really big difference, actually, the second. Yeah, the second.
Yeah, because the second allowed me to equalize. That's the difference.
You're a second away from IM level. Yeah.
If I was playing classical tournament and the increment was plus 31, I would be an IM now.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Okay, let's do a freestyle chess here to cap off the stream. So
I wonder what would happen if you played the freestyle chess with 1+0.
Do you want instead of?
Sure, yes, but that's the definition of brain rot, because without open, like.
Okay, we can do 3+2 and then 1-0.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the variant's gonna be chess 960. I hope the difference in rating allows you to play against me.
You have how much rating you have?
1700.
But I should have 1500, right? So that's the same thing.
Okay.
Right. What the hell?
Okay, yeah. So you can. Okay, I was gonna say you can think for a moment, but you immediately went for B4.
No, come on. Thinking is not for me.
Kind of like a madman going for B4. Okay.
But there's no easy. I'm pretty sure that in chess you should get rid of one of your bishops, because then it's really easy to play. You just place all the other pawns on the same color as the bishop you just left the board, and and you're fine. So this is a good advice for everyone.
That's what you do on the Bogo Indian, yeah?
Exactly, and Nimzo and whatnot. You just put bishop
Exactly.
forward, you take whatever comes in front of you, and then you just place everything on the dark squares, and you're better, basically.
Like rook e8, and I have manually castled, kinda.
Yeah, I forgot you could castle. Yeah.
Like this? Yeah. Look at this.
But now I exchange your other bishop, and it's such a good position. Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
Look at it. Look at this beauty. Actually, I'm not going to castle because that worsens my king. My king is really in the castle right now. This is really what castle was meant to be.
Okay. So bishop here. So
See, please tell me you don't think. Don't tell me you don't think that's the most horrible bishop that ever roamed the earth.
the 64 squares, yeah.
You just have to give up the bishop. Just give up one bishop, and then it's easy to play chess. Because if you have two of them, you don't know what to do. Like, do I close one? Do I close the other? It's really difficult.
Yeah, like the bishop. The real advantage of the bishop pair is to give them both away. Give them all.
No, just one. Because if you give both, you don't know where to put your pawns again. Please don't make that mistake. It's really important. It's just one of them, and yeah.
Okay. So I actually want to put my rook here yet again.
Right, so now I feel tempted to start putting pawns on the wrong colors. I know this is almost this is really bad, but it feels like the right moment.
I'm gonna make you an interesting question as the position becomes bad for me. So the question would be: are you shooting for a GM title?
Well, yes, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be like I said in the very beginning. I wouldn't be studying 4 hours a day.
And do you think if you were to estimate in terms of like a year or something, do you have a goal in mind that you would like to ask to tell us? Like in 5 years, I'm going to be a GM, or do you think it's just go with the flow?
No, I do have the idea that if I'm not Grand GM in 5 years, I'll give up on it. But besides that, I really don't have. I don't have a timetable. Otherwise, I will be pretty depressed because every tournament I play, I lose a lot of rating. So,
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here this does.
And do you think we'll see International Master André Sousa playing when he's 60, even though he has lost a bit of rating, or do you think he'll just hoard all that rating for himself?
It's a good question. If I'll be able to play chess without playing well. Well, I don't play very well right now, but I will assume that if I'm 60, I'll play worse. And it's an interesting question whether I will like the game or if I'm not very good at it, because I typically don't enjoy games if I cannot try to be good at them. Like most of the games I played, especially online, online games, either on the phone or on
Jesus.
on the computer. Like I tend to try to be really good at them. So it's an interesting question. Yeah, and that was a weird game, but yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is to give up a bishop.
Okay, guys, if you want to fire up your final questions, now's the time, because after this game, this is the brain rot chess 960.
It's not brain rot for sure. God damn
it. Okay. So they tell me that it's good to imitate the opponent. Yeah, copy the opponent.
I guess.
Let's see. Okay, now it's too much.
Why are you saying this was a bad move? That's what you're suggesting?
That's what I am implying, yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay. Now I'm kind of sad, but it's fine.
Hopping around with my knight.
Yeah, I didn't want to play h4. I thought we were going to play g5, and then h4 was probably the best move, and that's why I played it. I forgot that play something else. Yeah, give up a bishop. Now I'm happy again. I was very worried. Oh, not worry,
man. Sadness.
Yeah.
This is sadness. What a sad way to end the stream. But at least I'm happy that I managed to get a draw in.
You never know. Maybe my my queen will hang because it's just need to get the discovery with the bishop somehow. But I'm definitely never putting my king on the dark side in this game. I was okay, whatever. I take that back. Oh wait, why can't I castle? Oh, I need to put the king on. I was trying to castle and I couldn't understand why it wasn't working. Right, let me want that bishop. Come on.
Uh, okay. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So that's been pretty much it for today. Let's see if we have some questions. What do you think have been the biggest blockers in your journey so far? Feral Moves asks. Okay.
Yes. Probably my chess skill. If I played better, I would, I would have had more rating. No, but I actually am not entirely sure, but probably psychologically, because yeah, I think somehow psychologically is not very good, and maybe at the moment, like with all the chess that I do all day, I wonder if when I play tournaments I'll go a bit too tired, because just this recent tournament I was better basically all games except one, and but I lost 3 of them and drew 2, and it's like because I tend up blundering in the end, so I might be tired or something like that, but it's probably mostly psychological, yeah. But it's fine. You can work on that as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Thank you so much to first and foremost, Mr. International Master André Sousa. I don't know why I'm calling you Mr., but you shall be henceforth called Mr. here.
yeah, all right.
Thank you so much for being here. It was really nice to have you here on stream. It was a nice milestone here. And also, I'd like to thank every single one of you who was here, like sending questions and also like following and helping out the stream reach new heights, I guess. For those of you who don't know and are new here, basically I stream every Monday and Wednesday at around 9:15 p.m. Portuguese time, and I hope I can have more surprises soon, kind of like with guests, and yeah, basically my goal is to just have fun here and play chess, and yeah, basically that's the gist. So yeah, that's been pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much. Don't forget to follow here if you enjoyed it, and also you can maybe check out André Sousa's work. I know that he doesn't have like a huge online presence, but he has his Instagram, so if you want to contact him,
yeah, or WeChat, I guess.
or Liches, yeah, of course, yeah.
My coach page there, right? So if you want to read a little bit about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's on Hello, it's Dimitri, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.